Title: Forbidden Knowledge, the Church hid in the Devil's Bible. To escape being walled up alive, a 13th century monk made an impossible promise. He would create the world's largest book, a single volume containing all human knowledge, in one night. When midnight struck and the task was far from over, he made a desperate prayer, not to God, but to the devil. In exchange for his soul, the book was finished. But the chilling, full-page portrait of Satan he included is only the beginning of the story. What if I told you that, tucked right beside the Word of God, are exorcism spells and magical formulas so strange they blur the line between holy and heretical? Before we dive into the secrets, you have to get your head around the sheer size of this thing. It's called the Codex Gigas, literally the giant book, and for good reason. It's the largest surviving medieval manuscript in the world. It stands 3 feet tall, weighs a staggering 165 pounds, and it's so massive you need at least 2 people to even lift it. Its nearly 9-inch thick binding holds 310 pages of vellum, believed to be made from the skins of over 160 animals. This isn't just a book, it's a monument. It was created in the early 13th century in Bohemia, now the Czech Republic, and was once called an 8th wonder of the world. While its first known owner was a small, poor monastery in Podlasiec, its sheer grandeur makes its exact birthplace a mystery. The book's journey through history is just as epic as its size. It was pawned by monks desperate for cash, coveted by a Holy Roman Emperor obsessed with the occult, and eventually stolen as war booty by the Swedish army. It even survived being hurled from a castle window during a raging fire in 1697. Today, it sits behind protective glass in the National Library of Sweden, a silent giant that's seen it all. But the real story isn't its size, it's what's inside. At first glance, the book is a massive 1-volume library for a monastery. It contains the entire Latin Vulgate Bible, with brilliant, illuminated letters in red, blue, yellow, and green. It also holds 2 major works by the historian Flavius Josephus, the Antiquities of the Jews and the Jewish War, a huge encyclopedia by Isidore of Seville, and the famous Chronicle of Bohemia by Cosmas of Prague. There's even a collection of medical texts. It's a library of faith, history, and science. But then, you turn a few pages and stumble into much darker territory. Tucked inside this sacred collection are texts on exorcism. These aren't just simple prayers. They are detailed adjurations and magical formulas for casting out evil spirits. Think about it. A step-by-step guide for confronting demons, sitting right next to the Gospels. And it doesn't stop there. On the pages directly following the terrifying portrait of the devil, there are magical formulas and spells. One ritual details how to identify and catch a thief. Others were designed to treat sudden illnesses, blurring the line between medicine and magic. This wasn't just a Bible. It was a complete toolkit for navigating a world filled with saints, sinners, diseases, and demons. So why would a monk place these occult instructions right next to the holy word of God? Was he preserving forbidden knowledge, or documenting the tools needed to fight a very real evil? The absolute heart of the Codex Gigas, and the source of its dark legend, is found on a single page, a nearly 2-foot-tall, full-color portrait of the devil. This isn't some subtle background character. He's shown alone, powerful, and squatting in a menacing pose. He has horns, large claws, and a forked red tongue. He wears nothing but an ermine fur loincloth, a detail dripping with dark symbolism, since ermine was reserved for royalty, a nod to his title as the Prince of Darkness. In medieval art, devils were almost always shown being defeated or punishing sinners. But here, Satan gets his own page, a terrifying and unprecedented tribute. But the real genius, and the deepest mystery, is what's on the page directly facing him, a depiction of the heavenly city. It's a serene geometric vision of paradise, with tiered buildings protected behind fortified walls. but the city is completely, hauntingly empty. No angels, no saints, not a single sign of life. It creates a profound visual choice, an empty heaven staring across the binding at a solitary, powerful devil for all eternity. Just before this dramatic spread is a penitential text, a confession of sins written in large capital letters where a churchman begs for forgiveness. The layout tells a story. Confession, the choice between the empty city of God and the powerful prince of darkness. And then, immediately after, the practical spells to fight back. As if that weren't enough, perhaps the biggest riddle of the Codex Gigas is what we can no longer see. The book originally had 320 sheets, but today, at least 10 pages are missing. And they weren't just lost to time, the binding shows they were deliberately cut out. The question that has haunted historians for centuries is, what was on them? One theory is that they contained the monastic rules of the Benedictine order. A note in the Codex itself says these rules were once there. But scholars estimate those rules would have filled 2 pages at most, leaving several more unaccounted for. This is where speculation runs wild. Legends whisper of apocalyptic texts, like the Devil's Prayer, or even more potent spells for summoning demons. The truth is, we'll likely never know for sure. The missing pages create a void that has been filled by our wildest imaginations. That knowledge was deemed so dangerous or so valuable that someone, at some point in its long history, decided it was better to erase it forever. The legend of the Devil's Bible is incredible. A damned monk, a deal with Lucifer, a book made in a single night. It's a great story. But is any of it true? Not really. Scientific analysis has revealed a different, though no less amazing story. Experts who have studied the manuscript are almost certain it was written and illustrated by just one person. The handwriting is incredibly uniform from start to finish, showing no signs of change from age, mood, or sickness. This impossible consistency is what likely sparked the legend in the first place. But one night? Pure fiction. Manuscript experts estimate that just writing the text would have taken a single scribe, working 6 hours a day, at least 5 years. Factor in the illustrations and ruling the pages, and you're looking at a project that would have taken one person between 20 and 30 years to finish. This wasn't an act of demonic intervention. It was an act of almost superhuman dedication. The scribe was likely a monk named Herman, referred to as Hermanus Inclusus. Inclusus was once mistaken to mean he was walled in as punishment, but scholars now believe it just meant he was a recluse, a monk who chose a life of solitude to dedicate himself to this monumental work. This book wasn't a deal with the devil. It was one man's lifetime of devotion. The Codex Gigas is a breathtaking paradox. It's a holy Bible that contains magic spells. It's a monument to Christian faith that's most famous for a giant, terrifying picture of the devil. Its legend screams of a demonic pact, but its reality speaks of decades of unbelievable human focus and skill. It holds both the Word of God and the tools to fight back the darkness, an entire library for the medieval mind in one colossal volume. The book is a mirror of a time when heaven and hell weren't just ideas, but felt like ever-present realities. Its secrets are a testament to the undying human hunger for knowledge, no matter the cost. So I'll leave you with this question, the same one that has echoed for centuries. Is this a holy relic, a testament to one man's incredible faith? Or is it a cursed object forever marked by the diabolical legend of its creation?